All right. What is going on, everyone? We are live, and this is going to be a fun session. Really excited about today. We are talking ITG, which is just around the corner at the end of the month. And we've got some great guests lined up. Very, very excited to have with us some people from the ITG, some people who are presenting, some people who are going to be watching. And if you're catching this live stream, there's going to be special guests joining in afterwards. So if you're catching the replay, stick around. You never know who's going to be showing up. And if you're going to be joining us live, then there will be opportunities for you to ask questions. And let me just make sure that we are, in action and streaming in all of the places. This should be streaming on Facebook as well as YouTube, as well as Twitter. And we've got a couple people hopping on now. Welcome. Thanks for joining us. This is going to be a fun session. So really very excited today to be joining my fellow trumpeters. And, these wonderful people. We have JC Dobrzelewski, and he is the conference director of the ITG, and Adrianna Korey, she's the conference director's assistant. And if you've been to an ITG in the last however many years, you've seen JC and you've seen Adrianna, and they do just tremendous work in order to bring the ITG conference to life. Now, you may be asking yourself, what is the ITG? When is it? Why should I be going? All these questions. We're going to cover all of that. But really, if you're joining us, if you're hanging out, put some comments, leave your comments, and we're going to answer all of your questions. And, it's going to be great. We're going to get into everything. So without any further introduction, JC, Adrianna, welcome. Thank you so much for joining me and everyone here on this live stream.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks, Josh.
So it's not that far away, right? Here we are, the 47th International Trumpet Guild Conference, and this isn't sponsored. They didn't ask me to do this. I just love the ITG. I've done it. I have been a part of ITG doing photography a couple years back. Man, it was a couple years back already when it was the digital one. I submitted a presentation on that. It's a great thing, and it's benefited me from knowing about the ITG and attending the ITG and being a part of it. So I'm just stoked about it, and I want people to know because I feel like not everyone knows exactly what it's all about. So May 30th, June 3rd, the 47th conference is happening in Minneapolis, and this is going to be great. I think a lot of people are going to be really excited about what's happening. So, JC, just so people know, like, how long does it take to put one of these together?
Well, that's a loaded question.
How far in advance, like, were you thinking, okay, Minneapolis? Just so people have an understanding.
The selection of Minneapolis happened 5 years ago, and we usually work 2 years at a time. So, like, preparation starts August, a year and a half before, and then it's just a matter of like working with our different committees for the artists, the competitions, and setting up everything there. But the hotel's lined up 2 years in advance at the latest. And Minneapolis, we just chose because the first time I was there was an incredible conference. That was Del Larmer and Steve Wright who hosted back, I can't remember the year. It was like 2010-ish per there.
Mm-hmm.
And there was about 1,500 people who showed up to that conference.
Wow.
And yeah, it was incredible. And the site is beautiful, right downtown Minneapolis. We're about a block from the Symphony Hall. So you literally can walk anywhere. You don't need a car, you don't need anything.
Everything is just right there. So for anyone thinking like, oh, ITG kind of like what, if you haven't been there, if you don't know, you don't know. And like this is years in the planning. So like we all benefit. We all benefit greatly from all the work that's put in. Oh, look at this. We've got a good morning here. Brianna, how are you doing? If you don't know her, you got to meet her. She's wonderful. And anyone who is part of the Positive Trumpeters Worldwide community, is familiar with Bree. Glad to have you here. Are you going to be at that? Let us know in the comments if you're going to be at the ITG. I hope so. And we've got a lot of incredible artists lined up, and we've got some of them joining us today. We've got presentations. We've got, all kinds of events for the ITG. So, at its core, the ITG conference, right? It's the International Trumpet Guild. It's a good organization that everyone should know about if you're a trumpeter. And this is great, Bree. I'll be at ITG. We'll all be at ITG. It's gonna be a party. It's gonna be great. And
I might be there too.
Yes. And so, the organization is great, and a lot of people are probably familiar with the ITG Journal and just the Trumpet Guild as an organization, but they may not be aware of all the different events that happen throughout the world. All the affiliate chapters of the ITG, as well as if you haven't been to one of the conferences, you don't really exactly know what it's all about. And so we've covered the where, we've covered the when, right? Here we go. This is the where and the when. Minneapolis, end of the month, so right after Memorial Day. But we haven't yet touched base on who is this for. Like, all right, we've kind of talked about it a little bit, but I don't think that everyone out there really, realizes how broad in scope the ITG is, and they may not realize that this is something they should be considering. So, either one of you want to touch base on that? Who, some different aspects of the ITG and how it's going to benefit people, from students to amateurs to pros.
Sure, I'll let Adrianna start.
Totally. Well, the conference is for everybody. I attended my first conference in 2016 for Anaheim as a student volunteer, and I was bit by the ITG bug. It is just an incredible energy to be around, and I can't imagine not going to one at this point, regardless of the gig, of course. But I only wish I started going to them sooner. Certainly a lot of student-centric events. I know that's where a lot of people start going. As a prelude ensemble member, that's a really great opportunity to be able to perform in this kind of setting. But then also a lot of pro, non-pro centric events going on. It's truly an everybody experience. And what a cool opportunity to just bump into your heroes in getting your coffee in the morning. Those are like the best stories.
Now, you mentioned something, actually. You were like, oh, I wish I would have started going sooner. And I feel exactly the same way. I didn't go to an ITG like when I was in high school or like even in college. It wasn't until like later on, I'm already in my professional career. Like I'm, doing I'm recording albums. I'm freelancing. I'm gigging. I'm like doing the networking thing. I'm like, okay, let me see what this is all about. And when I was in high school, like no one really, people knew about it, but no one had like great info that they could tell me and share me like firsthand experiences. And because of that, they were like, yeah, it's like kind of just geeky. It's, trumpet. It's like, oh, like, and they like, I don't know if they went or not, but they totally missed out on everything. Like all the great reasons, the benefits of attending. And for me, going to these conferences, it's been like just unbelievable. Like you said, you're meeting your heroes. You're bumping into them in the morning, grabbing coffee, or you're, grabbing lunch with them, or you're, later in the evening, if you're a college age graduate, you're having a beer with them. Like you're hanging out. Like it's not just these formal concerts. It's not just these formal, lectures and presentations. You look at the schedule and things, they seem like, oh, this is like a real, kind of cut and dry. But no, it is a great hang, and like people are hanging, they're having a good time, and like you look at the roster of the people who are performing, who are presenting, and that's just a fraction of the trumpeters that you're going to run into in reality. Like a lot of your heroes, they're there for the same reason that you're going, because they want to see their friends and they want to hang out. There's great opportunities. So yeah, I feel like, as soon as I went that first year, I was just like, oh man, I got to go again. And then I was like, oh, I got to go again. And it's been great. So if you're joining us live, we are talking with JC and Adrianna, and we have some special guests who are going to be joining us, some more trumpeters, and it's going to be great. And JC is the conference director for the International Trumpet Guild, and Adrianna is the conference director's assistant. And we are talking ITG, why you got to be there, what it's all about, and kind of what got us kind of hooked on it. And so JC, like, when was your first ITG?
Oh, I went to my first ITG in 2001. I was a graduate student, and I had just arrived from Europe 6 months before, and I fell in love. Because back in Europe, we don't have that many events of this magnitude, so it was fun. And then since then, I pretty much went every year until I started hosting in 2014. But like following up on what you were saying before, as far as who is it for, it's really everybody. And I think the fear students have is they're used to their state conference when they're in high school, and you're surrounded with band directors and teachers. And as a high school student, that can be overwhelming. For an ITG conference, we're surrounded with friends, colleagues, and everybody is willing to talk with everybody, which is fun. For me, it's where I met all my best friends. The trumpet ensemble I play with, Tromba Mundi, started because of a conversation at an ITG conference. And that's just one of the many stories. You get to meet your superheroes, you get to talk to them, and you get to play with them as well. But it's really anybody from 5 years old until 125 years old can attend and participate, be part of the competitions, and just go talk to somebody who's sitting at the restaurant or at a bar and just say like, hey, I want to get to know you. And I think that's the cool thing about ITG.
Absolutely. So we've got another trumpeter with us here. Got another guest, Evan Taylor. If you're not familiar with Evan, he is a fantastic player, great trumpeter, great jazz musician, educator. Evan, welcome.
Hey, what's going on?
What's happening? We're talking ITG, and we're talking about who it's for, why you should be going, what kind of benefit you get from being there, what your experience has been with the ITG, and you've got, you participated in ITG competition, right? So this is a good aspect for, although that was a COVID year, right? I think.
It was a COVID year, unfortunately. I wasn't able to make it out to the conference. But yeah, I did enjoy. I actually was just hanging with one of the other guys, Zach Davis, who was also a finalist that year, and was just with him in New York a couple days ago, and we were talking about the ITG competition.
Yeah, that's so we talked about, like, there's performances, there's the hang, there's presentations, but for students out there, something definitely to consider, developing players. The ITG runs fantastic different competitions, and it's a great way to, put yourself out there and, meet a lot of new people. I've met a lot of fantastic musicians at the ITG, attending these conferences, attending the competitions, the finals, and then, each conference, different winners of past years, they come back and they're invited to perform. So, Evan, you've got a session at ITG this year, right? Can you tell us about it?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, well, I'm super blessed to be able to be presenting there this year, and I'm super thankful for the opportunity. So thanks, JC, and thank you guys for bringing me out and giving me that opportunity. I'm going to be talking about patient practice. That's the whole kind of message behind my presentation. I'm sorry, I'm hearing some echo right now. I don't know if it's my microphone or if it's something else.
I don't hear any on my end.
Huh. That's so interesting. And I have my echo cancellation off.
You might be good.
Okay. Well,
All
right. So
let us know in the comments.
Have to deal with it. So yeah, the entire presentation is based around practice and around this idea that everything that we do has habits, right? And habits kind of dictate everything in our life, whether it's our morning routine or anything else that we do. And so my thought was, as I'm talking about my own personal practice habits, what are the things that are inhibiting me from getting to my next level? And I know everybody's kind of dealt with this moment where they are dealing with something that's super challenging or difficult that they're working on. And you kind of rush through the process. Maybe you're trying to get something and you're like, I got to hurry up and get this. So you rush through the process. And so it's just going to be about slowing down. How do we slow down? How do we use the metronome to our advantage? How do we focus on our sound and having a great sound and having a great time feel and things like that while we're focusing on a phrase? So just really being patient with everything that we do in our practice sessions.
Awesome. So practice tips, and you're going to find a lot of this at the conference. There's warm-up sessions starting way earlier than I prefer getting up. I prefer the evening sessions, but I know there's some morning yoga sessions. There's warm-up sessions. There's something for really every age and level of player, from a middle schooler all the way up, as JC said, if you're 125 and you still have teeth and you can still play the trumpet, then good on you. Come to the ITG. But that's one of the things that I love, and that's one of the things that I've really enjoyed. It's like, if you're in the professional world, or if you're out of school, or maybe you're even working a different job and you haven't played professionally, but you still practice and play, like, we got, wherever you are in your journey, like, you need this inspiration. You gotta touch base with it. If you're not seeking it out, it's so easy to just kind of like get into the same groove, and then like you don't realize you're in that same groove for as long as you are in that same groove, and then suddenly you're like, oh man, you don't realize it until you put yourself in the situation. Like, you'll find yourself at an ITG where you get this inspiration from everyone all day, and it's like, for me, it feels like it's recharging my battery, like, very well. I'm like a trumpet battery is like not just recharged, but it's like kind of overcharged. And so Evan, had you been to some ITGs previously?
This will actually be my first year attending. I'm very excited.
First year attending. Awesome. That is awesome. Very, very cool. And if you're joining us, let us know if you've got any questions. We've got some echoing here happening. That is interesting. So we're gonna get to the bottom of that, and hopefully it's not too bad for you out there listening. So you're really in for a treat this year, I think. So JC, Adrianna, you want to you able to share some of the great performances and artists that people might be able to catch this year?
Sure. Like one of the cool thing too this year is we're having a new layout of competitions from one like Evan. He tried to try out the first time. It's like in the past they used to send a tape and they would invite only 3 finalists per competition, but this year the board revamped everything and they're doing semifinals too. So with the semifinals, they're bringing up to 15 players per division to compete, and then so you do semifinals and finals on site, which is going to take care of pretty much the whole week. And they added a new competition, which is a chamber music division this year too, which is any like size 5 to 10 players pretty much can compete as well. And a lot of the prizes changed when they honored Ryan Anthony, like they renamed the competitions and they brought a lot of things. So that's for the future years, people to start looking forward to those things. Like they post usually the rules like September-ish, like the National Trumpet Competition. Recordings for the semifinals are due sometimes in December, and then people come and compete on site. So that's pretty cool. As far as the events and why you should come there. Well, I mean, there's about 75 to 100 events happening each year, and it's brings players from everywhere around the world. I mean, from like covering like men, women, like anybody like you can imagine of come in and like represent. So like warm up starts at 7:15 in the morning, and then we finish with jam sessions late at night. Our main evening concerts at night. I mean, this year we have Les Trompes de Lyon, which open up the conference on the Tuesday night. We have Nigel Nordwitz and John Raymond, who's gonna do a jazz concert with a jazz trio. Etienne Charles with his band will play. There's the Steve Wright Big Band that's gonna feature four, like it's like Micah Bell, David Pastor, Nigel Nordwitz, and who am I mean? Oh, Bijan Watson. There on the Saturday night, the early concert is with the Minnesota Symphony Hall, like at Symphony Hall, with Chuck Lazarus playing. Then David Pastor is doing a jazz concert. We're featuring the 2021 Carmine Caruso Winner competition artist as well. I mean, then throughout the day, you have recitals in the church and lecture sessions like Evan's session. I mean, it's literally going on nonstop. Once you get to like 9 a.m., there's about every hour, you have about 3 to 4 events going on, plus competitions. Then you have some dedicated exhibit times where people can go and just buy everything they ever dreamed to buy, like from trumpets to mouthpiece, mutes, sheet music, toys, pretty much anything you're hoping for is going to be there from companies from everywhere in the world, which we are grateful for, because without their support, we wouldn't be much there. So I think that's a huge portion of the conference to have them there. So it's like, yeah, so that's kind of there. I mean, Adrianna, you can add to this, but
No, I mean, I'm excited that you mentioned the exhibit hall. I was going to say, there's not really another time of the year when you have so many trumpet-centric vendors in one place. National Trumpet Competition is quite similar, but it's just what an opportunity to have the time to go through the hall and check new things out. And then you're surrounded by trumpet players too. So, hey, does this sound good? You have ears all around as well. But it's really fun every year to see all the new stuff, new vendors. That is the time to do it, and making your Christmas wish list, if nothing else. But the exhibit hall is definitely something to check out if you've not been to an ITG.
Yeah, definitely. The exhibit hall, there's no place that you can go and try that many trumpets, that many mutes, that many mouthpieces, find that music. Because unfortunately, like music stores, they're just kind of dwindling a little bit. And there's not that many brick and mortar stores that carry, enormous inventories. And I don't think there's any music store anywhere that carries the inventory that you're going to catch at the ITG with as many different brands and as many, so that is always, for me, that's always a big highlight as well. Just going around, checking out what's new in the trumpet world. And so 7:15 warm-up session. Wow, I didn't realize they were that early. I think I've been to one actually, and they as long as the cafe is open for coffee, I feel like I could make one. But JC, you brought up a good point. It's like you're gonna be in a situation where you got to make the choice of like, oh, what is it that I want to attend? Because there's going to be 2 or 3 sessions happening simultaneously, and then you got to say, okay, which one am I going to catch? And the great thing is, like, you catch one, you catch the other. You can a lot of times you can kind of bounce in between different ones, but some of these events, they're happening in different locations, right? We've got how many different locations are there happening this year?
Well, quickly before that, it's like, yes, you do have to choose kind of where your top highlights will be during the week, but we are recording every event in the conference, and those events will be available up to I think up to 2 months following the conference on the conference app, which we're going to be rolling out in about, I think, next week, some information on our social media about people who can't be there and want to be able to join in virtually to have access to their videos after the fact. So they're going to be able to do that as well. So you don't even if you miss a few things, you're still going to be able to watch them after the fact. So it's don't be too sad about it, because
Great.
It's yeah. So that's a change we started implementing last year. Our team is still figuring out how to do it the best way possible, because it's a big change from some people like me who are not totally technologically savvy and try to adjust to the modern world. So we are adjusting, we're doing things, but I think people will have access to this. And sorry, now I'm lost track. What was your question? The question you had? That's strange.
You were just adding all that great info about so you're going to be able to catch all the sessions digitally after the fact. Now, if you're just an attendee, is that included in your attendee registration? And then is there a digital only version as well?
And that information will come out. I'm hoping on April 15 is when we're going to release all that information. For the people who are doing virtually only, the videos will be probably available about a week following the conference, because it takes a long time to process all the materials over the course. Last week we announced it right as the conference was going on, and I think most of us didn't sleep at all that whole week, just trying to get things there. And now our computers, I think 2 of our computers died in the processing process. So we're taking a little bit of delayed time to make sure the videos will be there. But as soon as people will have access to the app right from the beginning, but all the content will be available as we go, and hopefully within a week following the conference, everything will be up there. But yeah, so there's both there, and it's including the people who are attending. They will have access to everything, so no extra fees, and there will be a fee that will be specifically for people who can't be there and only watch after the fact. Yeah,
that's awesome. That's fantastic. So, Evan, you're hearing a lot of info about this conference, and like you said, this is going to be your first one. So I know you've heard about them in the past and you're familiar with it, but what you got to be stoked. I know I'm stoked, right?
Man, I am stoked, and I think I've gone to a lot of different conferences, at music educator conferences and NAMM conference and things like that. But one thing I'm very excited for is this conference is just going to be so inspiring and so educational. There's hundreds of trumpet players coming from all over the place, people of all different skill levels. You have people I know JC just mentioned Etienne Charles, who is somebody that I used to study with at Michigan State. And Etienne is I would say one of the kind of way pavers of our generation, as far as from both a trumpet playing standpoint and also a compositional standpoint. He's one of the great big band arrangers that's alive right now. He's also one of the great composers that's alive right now. He just finished doing the San Jose suite and premiering that at Carnegie Hall, and was featured in the New York Times. He's such a phenomenal composer and trumpet player. And I know that my trumpet career wouldn't have been anything what it is without having spent 4 years under his wing and kind of getting at his brain. So I'm super thankful for him, both as an educator and just as a trumpet player. And I'm excited to see him again and get to hang with him and hear him play and hear his band and everything.
Yeah,
So
I've
that's
never heard him
definitely
live,
a
so
performance to look forward to.
I'm very stoked about that.
Yeah, man. And on top of that, it's just like, how often do you get to like get out to a city where there's just like all these people kind of going for one thing? Like we're all trying to practice this piece of metal, and we're all trying to figure out how to make it sound better and how to make our lives and careers take off around it. So man, so cool.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, I mean, like, you never know who you're going to run into. And the hang is deep at the ITG, and that's where I feel like some of the greatest strengths of this are. And a lot of people out there, they don't necessarily go to professional conferences. You mentioned NAMM. There's a lot of different events that happen throughout the year, whether it's the National Trumpet Competition, or whether it's NAMM, or whether it's the Midwest Band and Orchestra Clinic, or TMEA, or there's all these different things. Like, people go to these events for a multitude of reasons, and a lot of them have educational aspects, but not a single one of them is what the ITG is all about. And it's the only place where, like, literally, like, you're gonna walk up to the restaurant or the coffee spot, wherever it is, and like, you're running into your heroes. Like, I can't even like count all the people that I've just like had the chance to meet. Like, you're just there, and like, you turn around and it's Doc Severinsen, and then like, you're talking with Doc, and then like, you turn around and then it's like Malcolm McNabb is there, and like, you're talking with Malcolm, like one of the most recorded trumpeters in the history of trumpet. And then you start chatting and you're talking about Stamp, because he's an LA guy and I studied with Roy Poper, and it's like Stamp. So then it's like, man, these connections are just nuts. And there's people that show up every year that, like, they're not even necessarily playing. They go to the hang, and like, they show up because that's where they get to see all their friends. The vibes are perfection.
The vibes are perfection.
The vibes.
Man, it's like, how many times have you been like, man, I really am just trying to get motivated to practice right now. Like, I'm having a hard time getting motivated to practice. And
Yeah.
I have a lot of students who say that, like, man, I'm just having trouble being motivated to practice right now. Well, I feel like anytime I go to one of these conferences, I come home like so inspired to just like get on the horn, because you just meet so many people. You mentioned FMEA. I was over at FMEA not too long ago in Tampa, and I remember getting to hang with Wycliffe Gordon, and he came over and plugged his like trombone trumpet kind of mouthpiece into one of the horns and played at the booth. And I was sitting there, we were playing a blues or something. Like 20 minutes later, Walter White stops by and plugs his mouthpiece into a horn and plays, and like just rips high notes and is like playing all this bebop and sounding amazing. And like, I remember just going home after that conference and just being like, man, I just want to practice. All I want to do is play right now. And I think, especially with it being all trumpet players, just nothing but trumpet players, like, we're just all going to come home and be like, all right, I want to get on the horn.
Yeah, that's it. Trumpet Mecca. I mean, this is yeah, the inspiration there, 100%. And everyone who's there, like, in my experience, like, everyone who's there is so approachable, and they're like, everyone's there for for positivity and like for a good reason. Like, and they're like, if you want to ask them a question, it's cool. If you want to hang, it's cool. They like, everything is going down. And I've had just great late night hangs, talking music, talking shop. And there have been impromptu sessions, that have happened in different rooms that people are like, playing through music, or just like having a little jam session. And there are jam sessions in the evening as well. So good opportunities like for people who are showing up to play. And maybe Adrianna, JC, you can actually talk about a couple of the opportunities that are going to be there for attendees, to get their horn out and to play some music besides play testing in the exhibit hall.
Yeah, so this year we have 5 jam sessions. 4 of them are late at night, and they're all hosted by great artists, right? So and then our last one will be Saturday. This one on the afternoon. So we have Bria Skonberg, who's going to run one. Oscar Pasley is going to run one. John Raymond is going to run one. Joey Tartel is going to run one, and I'm missing one. Scott really. Scott Belk. Oh, yeah, my great friend Scott Belk. How can I forget about him? So Scott is run one. So we have those 5 great artists are going to be there. The jazz trio is like a professional, incredible trio that's going to be there. That's going to be there for both the jam sessions, and this is the same trio that's going to play for the concerts. So it's we're talking about super high-end musicians that are going to be supporting there. It's open to everybody. So anybody that wants to come and just jam, they're welcome no matter the age. We have a reading session that's open to everybody where trumpet ensemble music and different things are usually being read. The warm-up session where everybody can participate. There is, there are some gathering hangs sessions where specifically for one that's for non-professional players, one that's for pre-professional players. Then we have our volunteer one, the opening fanfare, which is going to be led by David Hickman this year, and he has a couple pieces that he works with everybody, and then they perform it, and that's usually a blast. I remember when we did in California last time, there was 700 plus people that were playing outside. That was, it's loud, but it's kind of cool to be able to do that.
I've done a couple of those, and that's the only opportunity you're going to have to play with that many trumpet players all at once. And it's a thing. It's it's a thing. It's cool.
And this year, I almost forgot about this. Del Lyron is doing again play the national anthem at the Twins game, which they did when they did their conference, and that was really well received too. So there's a small rehearsal, but you do have to buy the game ticket to the game to go. But you play the national anthem at the game, so that's a good PR thing for people there too. Yeah, so it's kind of cool.
We got some surprises out there. Wait, tell me more about this national anthem. Which game is that?
The Twins game. That's the Thursday night game.
Thursday night game, and it's a big mass trumpet group.
It's whoever wants to go and play can join in. There's a rehearsal that afternoon. There's information that's on the conference website about it where they can sign up for it, and then all the information is there. But yeah, so you can go there, play the national anthem before the game. You can either stay for the game if you want after, or come back. But there's other events happening around that time too. So it's but it is a thing. Yeah,
that's gonna be a blast. And imagine just being in the bleachers, and then you have this giant. I hope a lot of people go to that. That'd be awesome if it was just an enormous trumpet ensemble. But the 700, in a fanfare. I don't know how many it was in San Antonio way back when Doc led one. There were a lot of us there. I know there were some issues with it, but it was really loud. San Antonio doesn't appreciate trumpet as much as we do. And it was really hot out. But the amazing thing is you're playing in this giant big trumpet. It's fun. It's chill. It's a casual thing. And you turn around and you're oh, wait a minute, I'm playing with these, all those people are there. It's very cool. Just got a message. We have another one of our guests who's going to be coming on line in just a minute here. And so once she logs on, we will introduce her. The opening fanfare. Yeah, just so many great things about the ITG that are happening. So there's good opportunities to play for everyone, regardless of your level. And it is really an inclusive You know, this is like the most inclusive, trumpet, event you can go to. Like everyone is positive, they're cool. It's just encouragement from morning to evening. And I'm going to be, I'm going to be catching up on sleep the week after. I know that just from attending so many events. So we do have a couple more guests joining us. And if you're tuning in live right now, thank you for joining us. We are here talking about the International Trumpet Guild Conference, and that is coming up pretty soon. Check that out. This is the ITG Conference, the 47th in Minneapolis, Minnesota, May 30th to June 3rd. And these are going to be packed days. There's a lot that's happening, which we've been talking about. And we've been talking about, the official schedule and then what you can expect. And so if you got any questions, about, hey, what's this experience like? What can I expect? Is this something I should consider going to? And I feel like that once people go to one of these ITG conferences, like they get hooked and they want to go and they want to go back. And then it just comes down to, the schedule. Can they take the time off? Do they have the days? And then the logistics of traveling in the hotel and the conference registration. But it's definitely, I know it's definitely like something that everyone that I know that's been to one has been like, oh, I hope I can go back. Right. And that was, that's just something that I've seen and experienced. So some highlights. I want to talk about some highlights. All right. So Evan, you haven't been yet. So you're going to be making your highlights this year. But JC, Adrianna, myself, we've been, I think the first one that I attended was, I think it was in Grand Rapids. I don't know what year that was.
That was 2013, I believe.
2013. Okay,
Yeah,
so
yeah, that was a year before I hosted in Valley Forge. So,
okay,
yeah, that was
so
a
almost
great
10 years
conference.
I've been going then. So I've seen a lot of incredible a lot of incredible performances from all kinds of artists, like Doc Severinsen and Sergei Nakarakov a couple years back did some impossible performance. It was just brilliant every year, though. It's always something, and I'm real stoked about some of the events this year. Some of my favorite people and trumpeters are going to be there, so I know that's going to be a lot of fun. Adrianna, what are some highlights for you?
I mean, my latest last year, getting to see Ole live. Actually, the first day of the conference, running into Ole, getting coffee. There's a coffee meetup that was pretty wild. It's like triple take. What? But getting to hear him live was just such a treat. Like you said, Sergey. When else do you get to hear that? That's awesome. I'm trying to think back to my first one in 2016.
And you get to meet them all. Like if you want, like I met Sergey and he was so cool. He was so nice. Like I met Ole and I got to hang with him, and he was so cool. And he had the most ridiculous stories. It's like the highlights are there. You get to meet him, you get to hear him, and yeah, continue. And then we're going to introduce our next guest.
Oh, my last one again, back to Anaheim. Eric Nishiro. Then I was like, man, I need to be that blonde. I got my picture with him. That's when I had to decide to stop being so nervous to ask for photos, because that's definitely you need to do that when you're at the conference. Tanya Darby, great to hear her play, great to speak with her. She's just a treat. I can go on, but it's pretty awesome. You're like, wow, really all of the heroes. Just list.
Yes. So we are very lucky. We have another guest that is joining us. Here we go. Good morning. This is
morning.
Sarah Stonebeck. How are you doing?
Great. How's everyone? It's good to see you all.
Doing well. We're doing well. And we got so much positive energy. Yes, that's what it's all about. So thank you for joining us. We are talking ITG, everything ITG. We're trying to, get the word out about it. People know about it, but if they haven't been, they don't really know. Like, it's like, about it. It's like, oh no, like, you don't know. It's like a really, really good restaurant, right? Like people talk about like the best restaurants. They're like, oh my God, I hear it's so good. But like, until you've actually been there, then you're like, oh, you can't put it into words. So I feel like that's the same thing, like with these musical experiences. So, welcome. You want to introduce yourself for everyone who may not know who you are?
Sure. Yeah. So, hello and greetings from Montana State in Bozeman, Montana. And we're finally at our springtime. It was a long winter, but we're now approaching 80 degrees today. It'll get a little rainier later, but so it's really great to be coming here from Montana. So I'm on the board of directors, and this is my third. I don't think COVID first year. I think I'm on my second. Well, nonetheless, I'm on the board of directors, and then I'm also the chair of the ITG scholarship competition. And so I'm excited about the upcoming conference for several reasons. I get to meet the students who are the recipients of the scholarship competition. They get to attend. They all got an award for being receiving the award, $250, and many of them are attending for the first time. And so we get anywhere from the middle school, high school, and college players, both undergrad and graduate students. So for me, it's really exciting that a lot of them haven't attended ever. And then also new this year, my trumpeters from MSU and I are going to be playing a prelude opening for the Wednesday evening concert. And all of my students, they've never been to ITG before either. So they're really excited about being able to just immerse themselves in the world of trumpet. Like Adrianna was saying, all the phenomenal guests that you get to meet and have coffee with and ask questions and just immerse yourself in the world of trumpet for that time. So I'm excited, and I know my students are excited, and I'm excited for just being able to dig deeper in the world of trumpet. As for me, it's a big learning experience too. I remember the first conference, or in 2019, I was working up the Brandenburg Trumpet Concerto for a 2019 fall performance. And so ITG was smack dab in the middle of my preparation of taking that year to really focus my efforts on building the skills and getting the equipment and just being able to be as prepared as possible. And during that conference in 2019, there were some pivotal conversations and mini lessons that I was able to receive. One of them was Jens Lindemann. He was able to provide some outstanding advice on how to approach it. And just so many. Terry Everson, he took a moment where he gave me a mini lesson and just random encounters with people that were so willing to answer questions. So for me, it's gaining knowledge. It's becoming a better trumpet player. But then also being able to perform and present my own perspective and original research and trumpet sounds as well with the trumpet community. So I like Adrianna was saying, as I caught the last part, it's just so many aspects that are exciting to be a part of. And I'm going to try to think of a different word than exciting. Meaningful.
Josh, you're muted.
That's it. And yeah, it's community. Thank you, JC. And speaking of community, we have another member of the trumpet community, and a big part of the ITG for many years. A fantastic performer, educator that everyone should know about. Joey Tartell. Joey, welcome.
Thanks. Great to see everybody.
Thanks for joining us. Yeah, great to see you too. And if you don't know Joey, he's someone you gotta know. You've got great, and you've got great, like, okay, so you're a great performer. You're an educator. You're down at Indiana University. You've got all these great, like, blog posts that you write. Like, he really speaks the truth on his website. He like, it's not all the time, but like when you post something, it's like people take it and then they share it because they're like, oh, we gotta check this out.
I appreciate that.
He's also an amazing basketball player. You didn't know that. He's
No,
like
I
a
didn't.
beast on the court.
We had a trumpet to get together last week. I'd like to correct at least some of the facts here. I do appreciate all the nice things said. The trumpet players all got together. We played some basketball, and here's what I found out. They think I'm good, where I think possibly they're not very good. We did have a good time playing. We're not here to talk basketball. I could talk basketball for the next hour and a half, and that would be great. But I know we're talking about ITG. I miss any of this. I'm still in finals week. I'm still teaching. I'm in between lessons now, so I haven't been able to catch what you guys have been talking about. But I imagine you already covered a lot of things. But like Dr. Stoneback here, Sarah, we don't know each other very well. We became best friends, I believe, last year. Isn't that right, Sarah? Like, we became best friends at ITG last year. We couldn't be. We've exchanged some texts since then, some mutual love of pink, which is important that everyone should have. You got to go. You got to go. I'm the biggest trumpet geek I know. ITG is obviously the place you should be. You got to be up in the Twin Cities in a couple of weeks. There's no place you get to hang out with more trumpet players that are more interested in what was going on there. Try more stuff. I don't know. For those of us who teach, the idea of where can you go try out horns? Where can you go try out mouthpieces? Hey, are these mutes any good? Hey, is this stuff any good? ITG has all of that stuff. Wander around and go see what is all going there. And the hang. There is, this is a great virtual hang, but I think that we'd all be enjoying this a lot more if the six of us were hanging around a table, which we will be in less than a month. And then you actually get to really hang out, listen to great trumpet players, hang out with great trumpet players, and then, of course, make fun of great trumpet players, which is part of the fun as well, right?
Yeah, yeah, this is actually like a great, visual. It's like, oh yeah, like, it's a table of trumpeters, and then next to you there's another table of trumpeters, and then next to them is another table, and they're all there for the same purpose and having a good time. And you will see Joey, he's got like either like a pink shoes or a pink case or a pink shirt or a pink something.
It happens. Yeah. I do have some new shoes I just got. I'm very pleased with, but I'll definitely bring those along. They are pink. But realize this: if you're worried about seeing somebody that you might think is some kind of big shot, and you think, boy, this is the time. They are at a trumpet conference and they are a trumpet player. Walk up and say, hey, could I ask you a question? Or, hey, I think this thing you did was really cool. Can I talk to you? They're all trumpet players. It's really amazing. This is like the first time I met Alan Vizzuti. He's a generation older than I am. So it was like one of these Trumpet Guild conferences. I walked up and I was like, hey, can I ask you, like, what did you do do this? And, I don't know Alan Vizzuti well. It's not like we're best friends, but it was took the second, like, engaged in the conversation, answered my question, moved on. When else do you get that opportunity? Go talk to these people. Go hang out. This is, going to the conferences, going to the classes during the day, the clinics during the day, the concerts at night. There is no substitute for this. That's all so trumpet centric. Everybody should be doing it. It's a great hang.
Yeah, and if you're a little bit intimidated by talking to Joey when you see him there, just walk to him and says, like, I'd love to know your ideas about compression. And you will be talking with him for the next 3 days nonstop.
And that's JC knows where all of my buttons are. That is certainly one of them. Yes, I have strong opinions about nearly everything, as most trumpet players do. So if you want to find out what people are thinking, go ask them. But go engage the conversation. Don't be afraid to go talk to anybody that you might think, yeah, but they're so and so. Go talk to them. That we're there.
Yeah, that's it. That's the advice. If we're there, talk to us. Come say hi, whoever it is. That's the reason. You know, if they didn't want to be there, no one's forcing anyone to go to ITG. Everyone who's there wants to be there. And so you mentioned different sessions, different performances. So Joey, Sarah, the both of you, you've got different presentations, performances that are going on. Would you like to share a little bit about what you will both be doing?
Sure. Yeah. So, like I said earlier, I'm bringing a group of my trumpeters here from MSU, and they got invited, and I get to play with them for an opening prelude for the Wednesday evening concert. And then outside of that, I'm going to, on Saturday morning, share a perspective of warming up for that 7:15 session in the morning, and all about how I switched up my routine to where I'm not doing the same thing. I think it's easy as trumpet players or musicians to get into that. I know this works. This is my warm up. This is what I do every day. This is it. But I think it's very easy to also go, oh, if I don't do this every morning, I won't be able to, or etc. So building flexibility and understanding how to switch things up and break that routine at least a few times throughout the week, so you don't get used to or adjusted or in a rut when you're warming up.
Yeah, that's advice that takes a lot of trumpeters a very long time to understand and realize. Like, you can't be inflexible.
Mm-hmm.
Life does not permit you to be inflexible with how you practice, with how you warm up. We don't have that much control over our lives and schedules if we're working musicians. And especially if you start touring or gigging and traveling, it's like airport calls, like everyone here knows about it. We've done it, and you're running to the venue. You don't have your hour to warm up or to do your whole routine or whatever. You got to be able to switch it up. So that's going to be valuable. That's a morning session.
Morning, 7:15, I believe.
I'm gonna make my coffee extra early.
Yeah, me too.
So that I can catch that, because I know that's going to be fantastic. And you got students with you, even better. For them to be able to experience all that. And Joey, you've got a couple things going on, right?
Yeah, I do have a couple things. I think I'm judging one of the prelim rounds of the jazz competition early in the week, so looking forward to hear young jazz players playing. Then Thursday night, as part of Trombomundi, along with JC, our conference director there, our trumpet ensemble, we are playing a world premiere on the Thursday night concert with the Trumpets de Lyon, a French trumpet ensemble. Now, here's the good news. There's 6 of us and 5 of them, so I think we might be able to take them. But brand new piece, very excited to put that together and go. And then, JC, are we still playing Saturday night as well? Is that happening?
We're just playing like a pre-show before the concert. Yeah, but
right. So we're also going to do Saturday night before the Minnesota Orchestra, right? We're going to do a prelude as well.
Part of the hang pre-concert, like in the lobby type thing.
Yeah. So yeah, I'll be. But other than that, I will be going to as many things as I can. Going to check out all of the concerts, all the exhibits, all of the presentations. Don't skip on the presentations. I think this might be the part that people miss on ITG, is when people have like a lecture on a certain topic or a certain principle, and they'll say, hey, come check this out. And we're thinking, well, I want to see somebody play. I want to go check this out. Don't sleep on those. There's a lot of great information that goes into these, and they're really worth checking out. People have put in a lot of work into figuring out how to do these sorts of things. So you've really got to check them out. They're totally worth it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And we've got, JC has got a scoot here soon. So before he does, I'm going to.
And so do I. I've got a student knocking on the door. Oh. So I'm still teaching in finals week. But thanks for having me in.
Yes. Thank you for stopping by.
And I will see everybody at ITG. So make sure you're there.
Yeah, we'll see you in just a couple weeks.
Yep.
Thank you, Joey, and JC. Thank you as well. We'll see you in a couple weeks as well. Stick around as long as you can. The rest of you, of course, if you want to hang, keep on hanging. We are getting into it. We are talking ITG, and you're hearing so many different perspectives, and you're hearing like so many different angles. And this is like what I love about it, because as we talked about, like there's just something for everyone, and you don't really know and experience that until you've gone. And like there's so many different experiences now that you've heard about, from competitions to performances to lectures to the hang to checking out the gear to meeting your heroes to networking. If you're a young professional, if you're a student, this is one of the best things you can do, because all of your classmates, all of your colleagues that are in undergraduate right now, that are in their graduate studies, the ones that stick with the trumpet, that keep going, that show their commitment, that are serious, that are coming to these conferences. Like if you're going to the ITG, it's pretty good odds that you're really serious about the trumpet and what you're trying to do with the trumpet. And you're going to meet like-minded people, and you're going to hang out with them, and then you're going to become friends with them. And then a couple of years are going to go by, and then a couple more years are going to go by. And then those friends of yours, they're going to be playing in different bands and ensembles, and they're going to be professors at different universities, or they're going to be, directing different music festivals. Like they're going to be involved in music, and they're going to invite you to come and give a master class. They're going to hire you to be on a gig. They're going to hire you to, be in a recording session. Like this is where you make these connections and where you get it to happen. And do we have a student that's going to be? Is that a thing?
No, she is actually had to head to class.
Okay. There was possibility.
And then I have a lesson.
You got a lesson. Okay. Then I'll thank you for joining us. And
Thank you, Josh.
I appreciate you stopping by. We'll see you in a couple weeks. All right. It's going to be great.
Yep. Can't wait. And I'm really excited about the Minnesota Twins game.
Yes, that's going to be fun. I need to look into that, because that sounds like something that needs to happen.
Yeah. Minnesota Twins. I grew up watching Minnesota Twins.
Even better.
Yeah.
And I'm jealous, because you mentioned it's 80 degrees. It's 49 degrees in Chicago right now.
But you have to consider our winter, where we've come from.
Yeah.
Like, we're going to soak it up. Thanks so much, everyone.
All right. Thanks.
Have a good day.
You too. All right. It's just the three of us. We're the stragglers. This is great. Which one do we like better? I like this is cool, right?
This feels very iPhone,
it does, right? It does. But like, what gives people the best experience, right? I don't know. That's cool too. So Evan, you're this is a hang. Like this is the way it goes, Adrianna. Like we've had some great hangs at ITG. The last ITG, I won't get into all the specifics, but I will say that the final night, Ole Edvard Antonsen, he played his concert, and it was incredible. It was brilliant. And it's like 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, whenever it was. My flight, I think the next morning, my flight was at like 5:35. It was the earliest flight, Southwest, flying back to Chicago. I didn't go to sleep. There was like a hang. There was an after hang. And it wasn't just like, there were people hanging that weren't even like we've been mentioning, like they weren't performers. They weren't there to like, be a part of the, official schedule, but like we're hanging out there, and it's like Mark Gould is there, and, Stephen Burns is there, and Ole's there, and Jens is there, and Jose Cibaja, and it's like all these cats. And at like 4 o'clock, I was like, okay, I gotta go pack and like get my Uber to go to the airport. And that's the last night. Like I wasn't hanging that late every night because I wanted to be able to get up at a reasonable time to be able to catch the sessions in the morning. But that's the only place that's going to happen. That's the only place where you can be in that situation. You're just like hearing the most inspiring and funny stories that there are. So that's a great aspect of this. Adrianna, what do you got to add?
No, I totally agree. Again, that's when a lot of the great stories occur. Last year was the first time back in person since the pandemic. And even I was like, yep, gotta go to bed. But it was just so great all being in the same space again. You just don't want the hang to end. And then especially the last night, it's like, no, like you don't know the next time you get to see everybody again. And but ultimate hang, that's the word.
Yeah. And the cool thing is it's like, you can look at the official schedule and you see all the people that are performing, that are presenting, that are, doing all the official sessions. But then we mentioned the vendors and like all the big companies show up. All the big companies that are making trumpets and accessories and gears and, everything. And a lot of them like bring along a couple of their artists, a couple of their big endorsers, like, because it's a good hang and like they want to be there. So like you might just turn around and you'd be like, oh, I didn't realize you were going to be here. And like that's a good big part of it. And then like people just know like this is where you can go to check out gear. And it's like the only place you can, if you really like want a new trumpet case or you want a new trumpet, like this is by far the best place you can go. All right, I remember years ago, it's like I was looking at some trumpet cases. I like turn around, it's like Rashawn Ross is there. It's like checking out trumpet cases too, because he's on the road and he's like, man, I need something. Like he wasn't playing, he wasn't part. He was just like popped in. He's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go check this out, and like that was it. And the same with like I mentioned, Mark Gould, like. Mark was there. He had his book, he did like some signing sessions, but like he was hanging and just trumpet legends.
Right.
And like that's like the name of the game. So that's what gets me stoked about it. And let me pop this up there, right? Just so everyone who's watching knows, if you're just joining us, welcome. Thank you. And we've been going here for an hour and 7 minutes talking about all things ITG. We had JC joining us, the conference director. We had Joey Tartell. We had Dr. Sarah Stoneback. We've got Evan Taylor with us, Adrianna here. So we've got great people joining us and great guests. And we've been answering questions. We've had some comments, not too many questions, but a couple people who are watching that are like, oh, I'm going to be there. I'm going to be at ITG. So if you're watching, if you're going to be there, let us know. Let us know what you're excited about, because there is a lot on the schedule. And Evan, you mentioned Etienne. I'm super stoked to hear him play. Never heard him live. His albums, his writing, like you said, like it's just fantastic. And some of the sessions I went to last year also, that Joey was mentioning, like don't miss the sessions, right? These presentations. Man, I've been to some great presentations. Just like people spend a lot of time. They put together these great lecture performances. They're talking about a topic in depth, in detail. These are subject matter experts, and they're really just getting great info. And you leave there and you're like, man, it's not just that like you didn't know about it. It's just that you didn't even know you didn't know about it. You didn't even think about it. You didn't consider it.
Right.
And then like it gives you like a whole new it's like a new rabbit hole like to chase. It's like a new thing to be inspired by, which is great, which is what leaves all of us kind of feeling recharged, like once we leave from these sessions. And the jam sessions, you never know who's going to be at the jam session too. Sometimes there was one jam session I remember years ago, and it was like, some students, a couple of the, different pros. And then, Trent's always at ITG because he's there with all of his stuff. And like Trent, you know, a lot of people know Austin Custom Brass. They know he's like a great trumpeter. Trent is an incredible trumpeter. Like he's just like, you know, can play anything on the trumpet. Arturo was there. And I remember like Trent was playing something like ridiculous. And Arturo was just like, you know, like got his camera out. He's like, what is happening here? Like that's what it's all about. And it's just, it's like a good, it's just a good hang. We got a comment here. Hand pink waiting. Well, George, welcome. Thank you for joining us. Let us know maybe a little more details of your comment. But the sessions, yeah, like that's a cool thing. You get to play, you get to hang. And Adrianna, like we met at ITG.
We did.
Like, that's how we became friends. Embry, who was here earlier, that message, like we met at ITG. Joey, I mean, like everyone, I met him at ITG, basically, and like that's how I've like, you know, gotten all these fantastic connections in the trumpet world. So what else is there left to cut? I mean, there's a lot left to cover, but like anything.
I think just the inspiration that comes from just hearing other great people play their instrument well, and like hearing people play your instrument well, you know, that's going to be something to take home. You hear people just do it so amazing, and you just want to go home and play more, and it just leaves you feeling so uplifted and so inspired. And man, it's just going to be such a great time out there.
Oh yeah, to make you want to chat. And I'm going to add, this is the only time of the year that you can be in a hotel and not worry about practicing the trumpet.
Hey, true.
It's the only time, because the entire
hotel room,
you just have pity for the people that didn't realize that they booked a hotel room in the Hyatt that is hosting the trumpet conference, because they don't even know what's about to happen. But that's the great thing. It's like everyone's playing, and you just walking down the hallway, you just hear music, you just hear people playing, and you get inspired, and you take it with you. And that's great that JC was mentioning, like you can watch these if you go to the conference, and you know, if you pay for the registration or the digital one, then you can watch these and catch these after the fact. And that's great, because a lot of times, like, you got to make a choice. It's like, oh, am I going to go hear this, or I'm going to go hear this? Or maybe you just have been like over trumpeted, and like you need a pause, or like you just need to grab lunch. Like there's so much happening. So like that is that's a big part of it. But you know, people are making lifelong friends, like, you know, lifelong connections at these. Really excellent. George, welcome.
Well, man, I got to slide off here. I got
to
jump to another meeting, but I really appreciate you having me on.
Of course. I appreciate you stopping by, and we're going to be hanging in just a couple of weeks, so it's going to be fantastic. Looking forward to seeing
you guys in person. We'll go get some food or something, you know, talk trumpet, all things trumpet.
Absolutely. That's what's going to happen. So, all right, Evan, thank you. Right, appreciate you.
Have a good rest of your day.
Hey, you too, Adrianna. And then there were two.
And
whoa,
that's so cozy.
That's so as a conference director's assistant, you deal with everyone. Like you deal with everyone. You're behind the scenes. You're like, I can't even imagine the number of emails and calls and everything that you're involved with. And
it's exciting.
Yeah, but you really have got like the inside scoop. Like you really are like know in such great detail everything that's happening. So that's got to be pretty cool, because like if I'm as excited as I am, like with cursory knowledge of like what the schedule is going to be each day, and I plan in advance, like when I get there, like when this official schedule is like all released and I can like print it out or get one, like I kind of like, I'm like, okay, these are the ones I gotta get to. And then I'm one of the official photographers for a number of years now for ITG. So there's a number of events that I actually have to go to that that I'm not like always like, they weren't always like on my schedule, but it's like, oh, I help with providing photography coverage of the conference. So, you know, that forces me to like go to things that I maybe didn't have on my radar. But I gotta say, that's one of the best parts about being that's one of the best parts about being, you know, one of these photographers, because it's like, oh, sure, like I'm going to go to 1 or 2 more sessions a day that I wasn't maybe thinking about. But then I go to them, I'm like, this is incredible. like these guys are amazing. And you know, that just kind of goes to show, it's like the amount of effort and time in programming and the number of people who are you know, that we get to see. It's like there's world-class artists just from all over doing things all day, which kind of gets us to this question: how many attendees? It varies.
That's a great question for JC. It does vary from year to year, and even though last year was our first one back in person, like what an outstanding showing, and this year it's looking even better.
Yeah,
I'm really bad at estimating a head count. Like, I'm not
it's
the
a
person
lot
to ask this question, but it's just a lot. There are so many, and again, it's between like not even just the attendees, but then you have the exhibitors and the artists, and again, and just like the people that you don't know are going to just show up, and because they know it's the annual thing, and they want to pop in, even if it's just for the day, for the afternoon.
Yeah.
Such a treat.
Yeah. People, they do just like kind of pop in for a day. And then they're like in and out. It's like, you know, sometimes like you even miss them. You're like, what? They were here? What? I didn't even know, just because you were busy and tied up with something else. So, you know, I know like some of my best practicing always happens like right after the ITG. Like that's when inspiration is at its highest. And if you have the opportunity to attend, I couldn't you know, recommend it more. And, you know, bring an open mind, and you know, make sure you know, of course, bring your trumpet, but like bring a notepad, you know, bring like a camera, like bring something you can like, you know, record something with, or just like if you've got like a inspiration, or like, you know, because you're going to be having these conversations one after the next, and like you want to jot things down, like you don't want to forget. And, you know, bring your business cards, like you want to connect with people if you have, you know, actual physical business cards. You want to like make these contacts, and that's just like what's so fun about it. That's what's so great, and you get to meet you know, fun people, and there's never been, I'm sure you've probably, like Adrianna knows about all of the things that go into, you know, making a sausage, as it were. So I'm sure that there every so often at an ITG that there's someone that doesn't get along, or there's something that you know, but that's a rarity. Like everyone is there to like have a good time. No one's causing drama. It's not like the trumpet world gets bad, you know, like it gets like made fun of in jokes, and like the trumpeters are like arrogant or full of themselves, like all those, you know, stupid jokes. But that is not indicative of the atmosphere of the ITG. It's like such a positive experience, in my experience, and you're meeting people from all over the world. So, you know, that's really great.
Absolutely. Like you said, lifelong connections, and you know, some folks, this is the only time that we get to see each other. And so it's like, hey, you're gonna be there this year? Well, I see you, like, let's make plans. My husband's also a trumpet player, and he started as a student volunteer. This is going to be his first year back since Hershey, so he's excited. I'm like,
oh, nice.
Man, you've got to get back. I invited my mom. I told my mom, I was like, you have to see what this is about. My mom's not a trumpet player, but I'm like, you have to see the madness, the excitement. But we like to jokingly call it madness. It's just something to see. But yes, I know that we talk a lot about camaraderie and community. Yeah, the egos, it gets pushed aside because everybody's just excited to be in each other's presence. There's nothing like it. Nothing like it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm gonna say if we got any more questions, comments from anyone, that's why we're here. That's why we're doing this. And everyone who's been hanging out, definitely big thank you for being here, for hanging out. I hope we've kind of covered all the bases and answered any questions that you may have had about the ITG. And again, like, they didn't ask me to do this. I pitched it to them. I was like, hey, ITG, I love it. I've been going for years. Like, how can I help? Like, can we do this live stream? Let's let people know what it's really about. Because you go to the website, like, it gives you like a little taste, but it's like looking at the menu. Like, you don't know until you've gone there and you've eaten there and then you've eaten there again, and you've been eating there for 10 years now, like I have, and I'm like, oh yeah, I love this restaurant. It's like I know what to expect. I know what it's going to be like. And consistently year after year, like, ITG has been a great experience for me. And that's actually where I bought my last trumpet, was at the ITG mouthpieces. Like, that's where I go. That's where you got to be.
Yeah, sorry to get a little crackly on my end. I'm not sure if the folks can hear that, but yeah, I hope, like you said, the website, it barely touches the surface of what this whole thing is really like. And I hope that today we were able to shed a little bit more light, but you really don't know until you're there and experiencing it firsthand. And thank you so much, Josh, for putting this together. It's cool because we don't get to
Pleasure.
often enough between the conferences, and it was really nice to see you. And I can't believe we're only weeks away.
I know. Yeah, likewise. And Adrianna earlier had requested some applause, so we've got to thank you for being here. Of course, a very big thank you to all of the guests, JC, Evan, Sarah, Joey, Adrianna, everyone who's hanging. And if you've been enjoying this, appreciate you stopping by. And I got way more videos coming up on my channel. Excited about that. The next interview, the video in my big interview series is coming out, I think, in the next day or two. And another Mute Monday coming up. Some great mutes. Ooh, I got a lot of new mutes recently, actually. And then I know some new prototype mutes that I'm going to be trying out at ITG. So that's also very exciting. And just just a lot of good things. But if you've been enjoying this, this is going to be archived on my channel. So if you know anyone who is curious about the ITG, thinking about it, wanting to understand it better, send them a link to this video. That'd be very appreciative. And I know ITG is just around the corner, and we are all looking forward to it. Minneapolis, Minnesota, May 30th to June 3rd, right around the corner, and it's all happening. It's all going down at the Hyatt Regency. And who knew that the Hyatt was so cool? It is. They put up they put up with all the trumpeters, and I'll be there. Everyone who you saw today on the stream, they're going to be there, and so many more. So I think that's all we got today. I think that's what we got. So give her a big thank you, Adrianna. Again, thank you, and all the rest of our guests. And I'll see you in just a couple weeks. So,
Right.
All right. Thanks, everyone. Take care.
Thank you.